Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to tell you a story that might sound simple at first, but it has the power to change the way you see yourself forever. It's about never underestimating yourself, about the silent power that wakes up the moment you start believing in who you are. There was once a young person who lived an ordinary life. Nothing about their days felt special. They woke up, followed routines, watched others succeed, and quietly told themselves, maybe I'm just not meant for more. Every time they looked around, they saw people who seemed smarter, stronger, more confident. And slowly, without even realizing it, they began to underestimate themselves. Not because they were weak, but because they kept measuring their worth using someone else's scale. One day, they failed at something important. It wasn't dramatic, but it hurt deeply. They sat alone, replaying every mistake, every word of doubt they had ever heard. Voices from the past echoed in their mind, saying they weren't good enough, talented enough, brave enough. And for a moment, they believed those voices. That moment was dangerous, because the biggest limits in life are not outside us, they live inside our thoughts. But something unexpected happened. Instead of quitting, they asked themselves a quiet question. What if I'm wrong about myself? What if all this time, the problem wasn't lack of ability, but lack of belief? What if the reason nothing changed was because they never truly believed they could change? That question became a turning point. They started small. Not with big dreams or loud promises, but with tiny actions. They spoke a little kinder to themselves. When they failed again, they didn't call themselves a failure, they called it a lesson. When fear showed up, they didn't run, they listened. They realized fear wasn't a sign to stop, it was a sign that growth was nearby. Day by day, something shifted. Not the world around them, but the way they walked through it. They stood a little straighter. They tried things they used to avoid. They raised their hand when they had an idea. They stopped waiting for permission to believe in themselves. And here's the truth most people don't tell you. Believing in yourself doesn't mean you never doubt. It means you don't let doubt decide your future. Confidence isn't loud. Sometimes it's just quietly showing up again, even after you've been disappointed. As time passed, others started noticing the change. Not because this person became perfect, but because they became real. They were no longer hiding behind excuses or comparisons. They owned their efforts. They owned their growth. And that energy, that self-belief, began opening doors that once felt locked. Opportunities didn't come because the world suddenly became fair. They came because this person finally believed they deserved to try. There will be moments in your life when you feel invisible. Moments when you think your dreams are too big, your voice too small, your chances too few. In those moments, remember this story. Remember that the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to underestimate yourself. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You need you to believe in you. Think about how many dreams are buried not because people failed, but because they never tried. How many talents disappear because someone decided they weren't good enough before giving themselves a chance. Underestimating yourself is one of the quietest ways to give up, and it's also the most common. But belief changes everything. When you believe in yourself, you walk differently. You speak differently. You recover differently. Failure doesn't end you, it educates you. Criticism doesn't break you, it shapes you. Success doesn't scare you, it motivates you. Believing in yourself doesn't mean you think you're better than others. It means you know you are capable of becoming better than you were yesterday. The world will test you. People will doubt you. Situations will challenge you. But none of that has the power to stop you unless you agree with it inside your mind. So the next time you hear that inner voice saying, "You can't," pause and ask yourself, what if I can? What if this fear is just the edge of my growth? What if my potential is bigger than my past? Never underestimate yourself because you haven't seen your best days yet. Never underestimate yourself because growth is invisible before it becomes obvious. Never underestimate yourself, because every strong person you admire once stood exactly where you are, unsure but hopeful. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to believe enough to take the next step. And that next step, no matter how small, can change your entire direction. Remember this. The moment you start believing in yourself, the world doesn't magically change, but you do. And that change is powerful enough to transform everything else. Thank you for being here, thank you for listening, and most importantly, don't ever forget this message. Never underestimate yourself, because the power you're looking for has been inside you all along.